It's not a cyclone, but it's just as dangerous. Over the next 72 hours, Australia will be hit by wind gusts exceeding 100 kilometers per hour, snow falling to unusually low elevations, and sudden heavy rainfall. What's really happening? Let's find out. Before we dive into the details, let's take a look at the latest satellite imagery. A very strong polar air mass is sweeping across southeastern Australia, creating a highly dynamic weather pattern. From South Australia, Victoria, southern New South Wales, the Australian Capital Territory, ACT, to Tasmania, all are being affected by this system, bringing showers, severe thunderstorms, strong wind gusts, and snowfall over the mountains. The low-pressure system is gradually moving away from Australia, but its trailing edge continues to drag bands of unstable clouds across the region. Numerous thunderstorms are developing and dissipating rapidly. However, localized torrential downpours are still occurring. Some areas could experience very strong wind gusts, small hail, and rapidly changing weather conditions within just a few minutes. In Tasmania, rainfall will continue to increase across the northwestern and northern parts of the island before spreading into the western and southern regions throughout today. Over the higher elevations, this precipitation will fall as snow. What's particularly noteworthy is that the snow level could drop to just a few hundred meters above sea level as the Antarctic air surges through. This means that many locations which rarely see snow may have the chance to witness their first snowfall of the season. Meanwhile, across Victoria, southern New South Wales, and the ACT, cold air continues to surge in, causing temperatures to drop significantly. Showers accompanied by chilly winds will persist throughout the day, while mountain areas remain likely to experience snowfall or snow flurries. South Australia is still seeing coastal showers as onshore winds push moisture inland. The farther north you travel, the drier conditions become, except for the far western region where a few thunderstorms remain active. Across Western Australia, a band of cloud is still producing scattered showers along the west and southwest coasts. However, high pressure is gradually expanding, allowing most of the state to transition toward more settled weather, with plenty of sunshine and lighter winds. Northern Australia remains relatively quiet overall, but a cloud band stretching from the Northern Territory into Queensland is becoming increasingly noteworthy. This area carries the potential for showers and thunderstorms over the next few days, particularly across the Northern Territory. Now let's take a look at this afternoon's weather picture. By around 1 p.m. Eastern Australia time, the cold front will continue moving across Victoria before pushing offshore later in the day. This system is responsible for bringing snow to Tasmania, Victoria, New South Wales, and the ACT. Not only will it become colder, but it will also become significantly windier. The tightly packed isobars on the weather charts indicate strengthening winds, particularly south of Wollongong and across many areas along the eastern slopes of the Great Dividing Range. Some locations could record wind gusts exceeding 100 kilometers per hour, especially on the eastern side of the ranges in northern New South Wales. This will be a time for residents to exercise extra caution when traveling outdoors and along coastal roads. The cold air will also spread into southern Queensland, bringing a noticeable drop in temperatures following several days of milder weather. Meanwhile, scattered showers and thunderstorms will continue across the Northern Territory. A few isolated thunderstorms are also developing in remote parts of Western Australia, although most inland areas remain generally dry. In the southwest corner of Australia, high pressure is bringing lighter winds, although a few light coastal showers remain possible. By late afternoon, strong southwesterly winds will dominate southeastern Australia. The strongest wind gusts will be focused around Bass Strait, the southeastern coast of Victoria, and the western coast of Tasmania. Offshore, large waves will continue, making marine conditions particularly hazardous. In contrast, southwestern Australia remains protected by the high-pressure system, resulting in much lighter winds and more stable weather. The position of the high also allows easterly winds to extend farther inland, while southerly winds continue stretching from South Australia all the way to Alice Springs. This airflow will contribute to further temperature drops across central Australia as well as southern Queensland over the coming days. Heading into Saturday, rainfall totals will generally remain modest across the country, although Victoria will continue to experience heavy showers, and snow will persist across the alpine regions. By then, the cold front will have retreated into southern Tasmania. Residents of Hobart and surrounding southern communities will clearly notice classic winter weather, with cold winds, rain, snow flurries, and much lower temperatures. Victoria will still see snowfall across the mountains, while New South Wales is expected to receive only very light snow with little or no accumulation. A few isolated thunderstorms will also linger over southeastern Western Australia and parts of South Australia. However, the focus of hazardous weather shifts to the Northern Territory. Some areas there could receive more than 50 millimeters of rain within just 24 hours. Communities around Alice Springs should also closely monitor the developing conditions. Meanwhile, the top end in Katherine will remain warm, but conditions are expected to stay mostly dry. Queensland will continue to enjoy relatively pleasant weather. Inland areas will remain mostly dry, with only a few isolated showers. The east coast will also stay largely dry, except around Cairns, where the risk of rainfall is considerably higher. By Sunday, the cold system will expand into the Tasman Sea. This means New Zealand is expected to enter a period of severe weather next week, with strong winds and cold rain. The cold air will also spread across Lord Howe Island, Norfolk Island, and then continue affecting Australia's entire eastern coastline. Victoria, New South Wales, and eastern Queensland will all experience noticeably cooler temperatures, with Brisbane expected to become significantly cooler by Sunday. In complete contrast, Western Australia will begin warming as northerly winds strengthen. Only the far southwest around Margaret River could see showers and thunderstorms as a weak cold front moves through. Thunderstorms over the Northern Territory will gradually drift into western Queensland, although most of that state will remain dry. Early next week, a very strong high-pressure system will settle directly over Tasmania. This will bring lighter winds, more stable weather, and drier conditions across Tasmania. However, the interaction between this high-pressure system and a deep low near New Zealand will continue driving cool southeasterly winds along the coasts of New South Wales and Queensland. As a result, coastal areas will continue experiencing showers, lower temperatures, and rather chilly weather compared to the beginning of the month. Meanwhile, the Northern Territory will begin drying out, while thunderstorms gradually spread into Western Australia. The southwestern region around Perth will still face the risk of slow-moving thunderstorms due to weak steering winds. South Australia, Victoria, and much of the inland will continue to enjoy settled weather. Looking at the broader regional picture, the cold air is expected to remain established along Australia's eastern coastline for much of next week. Temperatures across New South Wales and southeastern Queensland will continue running below the long-term average, while northern Queensland and the far Northern Territory retain their warm tropical air. One particularly noteworthy feature on the regional weather map is Typhoon Bari over the western North Pacific, which is forecast to intensify rapidly, with its central pressure potentially dropping to around 909 hPa early next week. The system could affect Guam before approaching Taiwan. However, it poses no threat to Australia because it is located in the northern hemisphere. By the middle of next week, high pressure will remain centered near Tasmania, continuing to direct cool winds along the coast of New South Wales. Coastal areas will still experience showers, while inland New South Wales, the ACT, and Victoria remain mostly dry. Thunderstorms across central Australia will become more complex as they spread into South Australia and Western Australia while connecting with the Kimberley region. Even the top end could experience a few unseasonal showers, something quite unusual for this time of year. Toward the end of next week, another southerly change will move into southwestern Australia, bringing cooler air. South Australia, Adelaide, Victoria, Tasmania, the ACT, and much of inland Queensland will continue enjoying dry and stable weather. Meanwhile, Lord Howe Island, Norfolk Island, and New Zealand will continue experiencing cold winds, rain, and rough seas as the winter weather pattern shows no signs of weakening. That is the complete overview of the most significant weather developments across Australia over the coming days. If you found this weather update helpful, don't forget to follow the VTB Tien channel to stay updated with the latest weather developments from Australia and around the world. Wishing you a safe and wonderful weekend. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next weather update. If you'd like, I can also make it sound more natural for a native English. Make it sound more natural for a native English-speaking weather presenter while preserving the exact meaning